Monday good with you
For what?
for the Juneteenth?
Whatever you need.
Monday's
I'll
fine.
roll with
What
whatever.
about
Hey,
you?
Bob.
Monday.
There you go.
I'm
Yours is
out.
being read.
You're out?
I'm out.
Bob, you're gonna miss
I
me.
can't do Monday,
Sitting by
but
you
you don't
tonight.
need me
You
here.
guys are ready to go.
Here. Sweet. Don't ever say that.
You are set.
Okay, I'd like to call this caucus meeting to session. When we start, I'm gonna be looking for a reading to dispense with the minutes. Communications, we have 3 pieces. Mayor's report. Mr. Benson, would you like to read the mayor's report this evening?
We'll do that.
In her absence?
I've not looked at it yet.
Maybe she's mine.
You know what? I can read it on the
You can read it on the
on the
floor.
floor.
I'm also gonna be asking for a motion to excuse Mr. President Patrick when we start out there. Report of standing committees. I am gonna call a finance and legislation meeting right now. I'd like to call finance and legislation to order. Mr. Burnside.
Here.
Mr. Ballack.
Here.
Okay, we have one piece tonight, and it is a resolution authorizing the city of Struthers, Ohio to enter into a partnership agreement with the city of Campbell, Ohio and Mahoning County, Ohio in order to apply for a program year 2024 Community Housing Impact and Preservation, aka the CHIP program, grant, with Mahoning County being designated as a grantee who will be representing for filing the application for said grant awarded by the Ohio Development Services Agency, Office of Community Development, and declaring an emergency. Need a motion to bring it out.
Motion to bring it out.
I need a second.
Second that.
That is all for finance and legislation. Motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned.
Second?
Second that.
Okay, back to the regular scheduled meeting. Report of standing committees. There is going to be a Finance and Legislation Committee meeting on June 19th. Oh, it's gonna be June 17th. Is that what we're going with, Megan?
I think that's what you guys said, Monday?
Yeah.
It will be Monday, June 17th at 6 o'clock. Legislation for this evening, we have 4 pieces. Anybody have any questions regarding our legislation for this evening? Unfinished business.
Need that?
New business. Anything from the law director?
No, sir.
Auditor? Chris? Did anybody have questions still regarding the, what are we calling that?
Street?
Street, I do.
Okay.
All right.
The street.
Where is all the money going from the levy? Where's it being used at?
Which year?
Last year and this year?
Did you get the report that I gave council?
We got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in the report, it shows where the money went. It
Okay.
was to paving companies, right? Consultants and engineers.
So we have no money left to pave, is what we're
Yeah,
saying.
well, that's what I'm asking. So we have no money left for paving
For the 2024 or this calendar
this year? Yeah.
No, we have already earmarked that money for projects that were passed through council to apply for money. We got the money, and those projects have been put out to bid, so we have earmarked that money for those projects. One being like Wetmore Bridge.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Chris, just to simplify it, the projects that we have, Wetmore Bridge.
So
We've,
that, the monies that we've gotten half our money from the county so far this year, right? Because it's first half settlement, second half settlement. We had a carryover project the end of last year into this year, so that's been paid. Right now, we're sitting at about $85,000 balance in there. I'm expecting about $150,000 in the second settlement from the taxes, from the property taxes.
Right.
We have the Wetmore project going out to bid on the 20th. The engineer's estimate for that was over 1.25
1.25 million.
depending on where that lands, that will determine how much of our road levy money we will have to contribute to that project. I'm thinking it's anywhere from $60,000,
to 160,000.
depending on where the bids come in. We won't know until we get the bids and pick a company. At that point, we'll know if we're gonna have any money left over for anything else. And we also have a second project.
We're gonna have to pay a portion, our share of the county project for Clingan Road, Clingan Road. So that's unknown what our portion of that project is gonna be. The legislation we signed to agree with EDG to be our construction engineer, that was $100,000. We're hoping that our bids come in below the estimates, and then we can use the leftover money to pay that $100,000. But if they don't, if they come in at what is estimated, then the street money has to go towards paying EDG. Okay, so you really can't, it's not spent, but it is allocated for those projects.
So until we know an actual hard number on them, we
I
don't know
won't.
if there'll be any other money left or there won't,
Right,
correct?
Exactly.
100%, correct.
Okay.
Okay,
So that means like 2 years we haven't had anything paid.
Well, we paved Elm Street and Center Street last year. That was where a lot of our resurfacing money went last year, to that project.
Did we get the list from MS from their study?
I have not received that yet.
Okay.
So if there is money left over, will we be relying on a county match, I don't know,
Okay,
what is
so
it, the
county
60-some
matches-
percent?
No, wait, let me just stop you there. County never matches.
No.
There's never been a county match. I think I think council, someone mentioned county, and what it is Ohio Public Works Commission. It's not the
Okay.
county. We don't
Okay.
get zero money from the county. We did do a project with the county
Right.
for sidewalks, so I think maybe also there's where some confusion was, but as far as road resurfacing, we've always gotten grants from OPWC. It ranges anywhere from 36 to 40% they pay, the 6% we're paying.
Okay,
So we are on the normal during a year able to pave about $400,000 worth, but that includes engineering and consulting, which take a big chunk out of that. So the actual, say, paving projects, our share is usually about $215,000 and about $140 to $160 from OPWC.
okay.
Okay. Also, we pay Eastgate.
Right.
So in order for us to apply to get the money from OPWC, we have to use Eastgate, and they charge us a fee as well.
Okay.
So, I mean, our
So-
money.
So if there's money left over, I mean, will we still be able to get some money from OPWC?
Here's the
this year.
caveat,
If
not this year, it's too
Okay.
late. And
Okay.
here's another issue. So we'll in August
August.
apply for next
For
year.
next
Okay.
year's paving
But
project.
we haven't heard yet if OPWC is going to be funded from the state yet.
Right.
The state's talking about.
So there's so many up in the airs. But to my knowledge, council hasn't passed anything obligating any of this money that will be collected in next year's calendar year. And Bob hasn't come to me with any projects that I know of.
That I know of. That,
So as far as from my stance, what you've already legislated, there's nothing for this year that I have available, but nothing being legislated for next year yet.
so we're moving with the idea, the deadlines to apply for OPWC is August. We're getting to get our evaluation from MS on the street evaluation. We'll develop a list, and we will take that list to OPWC in August and apply for next year's
So that's for
fund.
2020, August for
That one.
2025,
Right,
so
so you-
it would have
you
been
apply in
August of
August.
2023 for this
You
year.
apply in August, you find out like at the end of December, and then you actually don't get that money until July.
Okay,
Right, so that's
So-
why our paving is always in the fall, because that's the way that works.
So any money we may have left over, whatever paving projects we might undertake, we will be paying at 100%.
If we took any on this year.
This year?
If anything.
Yes.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Why didn't we apply for anything last August?
Because I anticipated these expenses, and if I'd applied, and you already allocated the money for the bridge and other projects,
We had no match.
we know we don't
Our
have the
match
money
was
this year.
already-
Right,
so we wouldn't have had our 60% match. That's why we didn't apply last year.
right.
But we couldn't not go through with the bridge. This was
No.
our
We
shot.
can't pass up $1 million. We're
Yes,
never gonna be able to.
I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
But the levy wasn't sold on bridges.
No,
Correct.
it was not. But where else were we gonna come up with the
I
money?
know, the bridge is an exception, but I think moving on in the future, if things come up like that, roads should take precedence over everything, because that's what they're paying for.
I would
And
agree.
that's how we sold it.
Yeah,
How-
I think we have a lot of
However, the
unhappy people,
bridge
honestly.
is a
Yeah.
A
road.
lot of unhappy people.
There's a lot on
I think there would have been some unhappy people if you had to close that bridge and everybody had to constantly go
Go
around
around.
Wetmore and not use it because
Oh,
the city
and I
could
agree
never
with
get
you,
$1.2 million.
We've had 2
to
years of
fix
kind of
it.
not touching too many roads. And
Well,
there's-
we didn't touch too many, but we did do 2 major arteries into the
Right.
city.
And
And
to the
Elm Street
idea
and
that like
Sanford are two
to
major
pave
arteries.
Oh, yeah.
a mile of road is like $500,000. When you
Yeah.
look at it from that perspective, or half a mile.
Half a mile of roads has cost $500,000 to pay.
We've gotten to all of Center Street,
Right.
basically. I mean, there was a lot of,
That Center
Mileage.
Street was a
And Elm
very,
Street, right?
and Elm
And
Street were
Elm.
very, 2 very expensive.
Bob, I
projects.
agree moving forward, but also I completely understand. Last year when we looked at the bridge project, we all
Yeah.
agreed.
Yeah.
There is no way.
Oh, yeah.
This
I
is our
agree.
only opportunity to get that fixed and get it done right, and now it'll last us 150 more years or however long, you know what I mean?
But see, the thing is the longer we wait to do roads.
The worse.
It's 2 years. Now we're gonna have to do our main arteries again, and then these side roads aren't gonna get done again for another
I agree.
So-
5 years. My street has never been paved, as
So-
long as I've lived there,
It-
never. That's
That being
40
said,
years.
We were approached about Walton, and I don't know how many people travel
Yes.
up and down Walton. We were approached about Walton, the Youngstown approached us, wanting to share, and when the cost came in, we basically told them, no, we can't do it. Because we know we have to pave some local roads before we.
Well,
take on-
is it half of Walton, Youngstown?
Yes, so
Yeah.
they would pick up half the cost.
We'll pick
Walton
up the
is
other half.
estimated
But we
at,
gotta pick up the other
is
half.
estimated at almost $3
Well,
million.
we did that with Midlothian, we
Yeah.
worked with them.
Yeah.
But Midlothian, Walton is estimated at almost $3 million, which means.
Is
our
that because
share
a
would be
portion of it's
1.5.
concrete, Bob?
It, because it would have to all be repaired as concrete.
Yeah.
Because of
So
the trucks.
It's a full repair, right. So that's why that's so expensive. But we told them we had to pass it up. Not saying that we won't work towards replacing Walton 4 or 5 years from now, because.
But then again, how many Struthers citizens use Walton? You know, I think we need to start concentrating on our city streets in locally.
I will not disagree with you.
I would say
mean,
prioritizing
Yeah.
is probably
Yeah.
a better
Well,
word.
that's why we got our evaluation done. That will help us make the better decisions on which ones we need to address immediately.
And we won't have to do that evaluation every year.
No, but
Every
it'd
five.
probably be smart to do it about every 5 years. But we
Yeah,
may
because
not
that
get through,
costs
we may
money
not get
too.
through, yeah, that was like $14,000.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not, when you compare it to
Sure.
your expenses, it's not that much.
Okay, moving on, we have SSD report. Anything?
I'm going to, well,
You'll do cats on the floor?
I'll read cats on the floor, and I just want to bring up a subject. First of all, she mentioned that the bid opening was supposed to be tomorrow, but we got delayed and it's going to be next Thursday. I was hoping to have more information after the bid opening. Recreational marijuana. I would recommend that next Thursday, or next caucus meeting, not Thursday,
Wednesday.
but your next meeting.
Committee meeting.
We have a serious discussion about what the city wants to do with dispensaries within the city limits. I've been reading over the Ohio Revised Code. We're gonna make a recommendation until my recommendation would probably be until we get further into dispensaries, we limit it within the city of Struthers.
We've already last week this was brought up at Caucus.
Okay.
And I don't
I
think
was-
you
I
were,
was off,
you were
right.
off, okay. And, the mayor had brought up a moratorium, which
Yes.
was basically just a pause till we
Yes.
find out what the state is gonna allow and gonna do.
Their state is still making a lot of changes to it. There's, how revised code covers it now, how revised codes allows you to ban it or limit it, So you do have the authority to do that. We may want to imply some zoning laws along with that, which we're not prepared to do right now. You know what I'm saying? So we have one facility in Struthers, and if you completely ban it, so once they get a license, you have 120 days to ban it. And then they got 60 days to stop selling. All right? They can appeal that, put it on the ballot. There's a whole process they can go through to appeal it. So, in my opinion, instead of doing that, you're probably better off putting a temporary moratorium on it so that people don't spend money with the hopes of having something and then us wind up banning it because we didn't like the results that came out. And you know what I'm saying? And then they'd have to do an appeal through the voters, and you know what I'm saying? It's a long process.
The agreement was just a temporary moratorium until we could find out what the state is going to, how they're gonna open it up to the public.
So Austintown originally banned it, and then Austintown changed their mind and they went and said they're going to limit it. All right? I don't think we need to ban it. I think temporarily we need to limit it, and then as we see how it plays out, we can expand it.
Yeah, I think we were all in agreement that a temporary moratorium until we can sort everything out and figure out what the state is gonna want, how many. I guess my whole thing is this: I don't want this licensing to come out and then everybody applies and we're selling it at the gas station. They're selling it here and there.
That's why I say
That
we may want to implement some zoning requirements that, that is not permitted in a residential A, or it has to be so far from a residential area.
My hope is that honestly that the state does it similar to how they do a liquor license.
Yes.
Same way. I'm not against it, apply the right way, do the right things, and I don't want 30 of them in our town.
I'm completely with you. I'm not against marijuana.
So I think the easiest way is a moratorium temporarily until we can know what the state's laws are gonna be and kind of cater ours around that.
Right.
Right now, we have one medical marijuana place,
Yes.
okay? And the mayor says that medical marijuana place down there is gonna move. Where are they gonna move to? Do you know?
What does that have to
They
do
don't
with
know
any
if
of
they're
it?
going to move or not.
What?
What's that have to do with any of
Cause I'd like to know where they're gonna move at.
When they
it?
know,
I guess I
They'll
don't
know.
understand what that has to do with this legislation that we're talking about.
Well, the only thing that would have to deal with would be your zoning.
Right.
So if you are thinking of zoning, so that has to be taken into consideration as
It may
well.
be something we want to consider
Yeah, so-
before we open our
So
city
what
up.
type of zoning were you just saying like residential, like, not?
We may
what-
want to put some zoning requirements for distance from schools. I know the state has,
The state's gonna do that
has
as
set
well.
some,
Yeah.
but you may want to make it stricter. I
Sure.
don't know. Until we see how this starts working in other communities and everything else.
Well, I've
we
had
don't-
so many people ask me about it, and I just keep trying to explain. I don't think the state knows 100%
They
what
don't.
they're doing yet.
Right.
So how are we supposed to do anything when we don't even know what their guidelines are going to be?
Even our share of the pot. So supposedly, the communities that house of or recreational marijuana gets 30%, 36% of the money collected. I'm sure that's going to change. The state's not gonna give communities that much money. They're just, I doubt that seriously. What percentage it's going to be, I don't know. We may want to increase our medical marijuana facilities in the city because it will be based on the number of facilities that you have in your city, your share of that 36%. All right? So there's 36%, but that 36% of the funds goes to all the communities that have a dispensary. So if we want, I don't know how much money that's going to be. Nobody does. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it will be based on, if you have one, then you get this percentage, but if you have two facilities, then you get
this.
a little bit
Okay.
more.
Yeah.
You know, if you have three, you get more than that.
And at that point, we would change our legislation based
Appropriate.
around what they have, you know?
Yes.
But you don't know what the state has as far as zoning at this point.
State has nothing in zoning. Zoning, and that's why we're allowed to make these changes, because the zoning falls on local municipalities and townships.
Yeah.
That's.
So if Greenleaf builds somewhere else or takes it somewhere else, before any of this state zoning comes up, are they grandfathered in?
So, if Greenleaf was to apply for a license and get a license, they're allowed to operate, but a
Well,
community can come back within 120 days of a license being applied. The community has a right to ban it,
To my understanding,
okay, within 120 days.
the medical facilities are automatically going to be the first ones who get the,
They've probably already
recreational
applied for
license.
it. Last Friday was opening for applications, and I have not talked to anybody from Greenleaf, but I think they have applied.
okay.
So basically, if you're going to pass any legislation, if you were to ban it completely, you know what I'm saying, you would have to do it within 120 days of them being applied, their license being issued. And then they would have 60 days to stop selling, all right?
Right.
And then they would have another, it's like 90 days for them to apply a petition to the residents.
Well, I don't think anybody's against it. I
Oh.
think we're just looking to limit it currently and put a moratorium in.
Only because of
until
the
we
unknown.
can figure out
Right.
what is gonna go on in
Only
the
because
future.
of the unknowns,
Yeah,
okay?
okay. Anybody else, anything?
I'm gonna try to have something for you next week,
Okay,
okay?
thank you, Bob. Motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
Oh,
Can I,
hang on, it's called timeout.
can I just make one comment on
Yes,
the report?
go ahead, Mr.
I
Brennan.
apologize. So on the treasurer's report, you see an added account, added line item on there for $1 million. What that is, it's a new account, that's a sub-account for our general checking. This account is going to allow us to earn interest at current rates. Right now, that interest rate's at 4.85%. So we're gonna be, collecting that, for the time being.
We use a money market account?
It's not a money market account, it's an insured sweep account through Huntington, and it's
Similar then.
It's similar, yes. But it's, it doesn't have the restrictions that have on money markets where, we can move money back and forth as often as we want.
No penalty.
The limit, no penalty. The limit is like, over 100 million that we could have in there, which we don't.
That'd be great if we did.
Yeah.
More street space.
Something to shoot for.
So I just wanted to make council aware that this new account has been opened, and we'll be working with it.
Very good.
All right?
Thank you, Mr. Brenner. Okay, motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
Second.
meeting adjourned.